Tuning into the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
The animals, the animals trapped in the cage is full. The cage is full, there is no, and everybody's leaving, waiting on you. You got time.
There you go.
Yes, JJ, look. What is that, the nay-nay? Are you whipping nay-nay?
There's got to be a dance to that.
Welcome to another episode of AfterBuzz TV's recap of Netflix's Orange is the New Black. I'm one of your hosts, Megan Thomas, at Meg Scoop on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And who are you, lovely lady? Blonde bombshells today.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Holding down the left side of the table.
Yep.
I'm Sterling Cates, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Sterling Cates.
Hey guys, I'm JJ Snyder, and I'm new to the panel today. So excited to join you and talk about this hot show.
Welcome. We're so glad
I've
to
got
have
a few
you.
people in the live chat. Tom, Pat, Nicholas Emilio, Deborah Battle, Michaela Lopez, Kanisha Luby. I'll be saying that.
Shout out, you guys.
Hey, yes.
Good to
Shout out
see
to
ya.
all of you guys. And also, if you have any comments during the show, make sure you use the hashtag ABTVOITNB, which
Nice.
is Orange is the New Black. If you don't got that, yeah. So make sure you do that. If you tweet us, that way we can see your comments, because I'm checking it right now. Shout out to at Molly Flood, at Deborah Battle, who have tweeted me stuff throughout the week. Shout out to you guys. Okay, so let's get into episode 5. Fake it till you fake it some more. So this episode, everyone was kind of in a tizzy trying to figure out, what is the new job? Dun, dun, dun. $1 more, or it's $1, right? $1 an hour versus the 11 cents that they've been getting.
Right.
And everyone's trying to figure it out. So some people say they're going to be firefighters, call center, party planning, warheads, an eco company, GMO wheat.
It could really be all of it. Maybe
could be all of
combined into one.
Did you guys have any idea, like, what did you think they were going to do?
I honestly had no idea.
I didn't either, but I was afraid, like, it was so interesting if it was something like secretive.
Yeah.
You know, like nuclear testing. But
You can't have felons, like, making nuclear bombs.
Yeah.
That's not okay.
But I almost didn't. So they get an 89-cent raise. I just did the math
Right,
on this
right.
job. So, but everyone's so pumped up about it.
Right. It gets more on your commissary for doing with the same amount of hours as everybody else, and you get way more money. I would want this new job as well. So then, of course, we see that everyone's kind of trying to figure out what it is. Honestly, when I saw this, I was like, "Oh, they're going to make license plates."
What?
I saw
Yeah.
that somewhere. Like, back in the day, they make prisoners do license plates.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing I could come up with.
Well,
But,
at
you
least
know.
what we got is a little more exciting than license
Right.
plates.
And so, so what I asked
Yes.
for, we got. I wanted a prediction about Flocka.
Yep.
And we got it!
Oh, yes!
Yeah, I just wanted more information. So we find that this episode, we see a lot about Flocka. We see about her background, how she got into the pen,
Right.
how she got in here. So we see that at the beginning of her flash, she's talking to her boyfriend. He's a drug dealer. She's in high school. She wants to sell drugs too. I found it really interesting that, first of all, her name's Marisol.
Yeah.
So and I was like, how did she get Flocka? Because her last name.
Flocka means skinny in Spanish.
Oh, I thought that was her real name.
Yeah, you got it.
I gotta get up on my Spanish game, Sterling.
I bet you know that because you've been called that. Because I've been called flaca güera. It's like skinny blonde girl.
Is that what that means?
Skinny white girl. Hey, white girl. Yeah.
Okay,
That's like all I remember from my days in Spanish class.
Well, I'm glad you knew that, because I really was like, her name's not Flocka?
Gordo is fat.
Fat, right. I don't think anyone's named Gordo on the show. No, it's named Gordo.
In case you
Okay.
I like you got your main adjectives down there.
Right,
Skinny,
right.
fat, bonita.
So
All right, anyway.
Right. So we see that. the best song. Okay, so Monty Soul's mom is she's a seamstress. She's making a dress and she sews in the little designer tags.
Yeah, and she's saying so she's sewing in all the Calvin Klein tags, and then it's saying people will believe what you tell them.
Exactly.
And I think that's so important because especially with the name of the episode, "Fake It Until You Fake It Some More."
So that kind of put the things in motion in Flocka's head to sell some fake acid. I'm just gonna put some little stamps together and spray some water on them.
I don't know about you guys, but I felt so bad when I heard her say that idea. I just thought, oh, this is not a good idea at all.
But I can kind of understand where she was coming from because she's saying, oh, well, nothing's going to happen. In her little high school head, nothing happens. You look at a piece of paper, and then they're going to be like, I didn't feel anything. Oh, well, what is nothing?
Yeah.
Like, what is that?
I was like, that's pretty smart.
It was.
I would believe that. I was like, oh, well, I guess it isn't.
I was not nearly that, innovative in high school to come up with something like that.
Yeah. So then she's making a fortune getting her platforms that, she's buying, which I was
the big shoes.
Right.
Those are in style now.
Are they?
Yeah. Well, I don't wear them, but I see them everywhere now.
Okay. So the platforms are in, and apparently. And so Flocka's selling this at school. We see that there's a guy who buys it from her, or who gets it from her, and then he decides to jump off of the roof because he's failing. He's doing poorly.
Well, to be fair, yes, she did get blamed for that because she sold him, the fake stuff. But when the group of guys came up to her at the locker, the guy said, "Yeah, Jason needs some. He's been kind of down lately." So obviously, this kid is already depressed. He probably jumped off the building because he's depressed, not because he licked a piece of paper.
No, exactly, and that's why. And I didn't realize that it's you can really get in trouble for that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, they said, the charge that she got was fraud and endangerment.
Fraud and endangerment, yeah. Wow. So it was just, she got charged for what she did, which is fraud, not selling,
For not selling drugs.
But she's not selling, she's not, she wasn't selling drugs, but she was pretending to.
Back to my high school comment, by the way, we need to just be honest about whether or not anyone here has ever come across fake drugs, because I have.
Wait, what happened? Nothing or something bad?
No, well, okay. In college, I bought mushrooms with my roommate. It was this big thing, we talked about all semester. Once we took finals, we were going to take mushrooms. And there was a big outdoor event that night. And my roommate and I, we put on tie-dyes. We were we're going to be totally, stoners tonight. And we took the mushrooms and nothing happened.
Well,
nothing.
But so I bought. Did you ever was there a moment where you ever thought something was happening?
I feel this.
You're I'm starting to feel it, or no? That never happened.
Exactly. So I remember an hour and a half of sitting there going do you feel anything?
Right.
I don't think I feel anything. No, I don't feel anything. For an hour and a half.
Right.
So
there was never that moment where phenomenon. There was never that moment where you thought that you might be feeling something.
No, because I knew the difference.
Yeah.
Not TMI, but
Okay, so
good to know.
Apparently Justin didn't know, and he blamed the drugs. I'm sure somebody blamed the drugs because we see that that Flocka gets arrested for not selling drugs. Which honestly, I was like, that's kind of a good idea. You're in high school, you're trying to make money. I'm gonna sell these stamps that you can lick and nothing's gonna happen. It seems like a good idea.
She had it really worked out. She was bold.
She had the comebacks. I was like, all right. I was kind of proud of her for 2 seconds. And then when he was on that roof, I was like, oh, this is going downhill fast.
So this is kind of interesting. So Kanisha, I think is your name, she said, I'm surprised that you can go to jail for not actually selling someone's drugs. So even though, isn't it interesting though that it's actually just paper? But the fact that you're saying it's drugs, I guess that's why.
But
how can they prove that in court though, is that she's saying it's drugs?
The question is, did they test the boy's body?
Well, they probably would have, but then they would have found that he has nothing in his system. But I don't think it's a fact that, because that's a different charge. You sold him drugs. That's a different charge.
Yeah.
But I think the fact that you endangered him and the fraud behind it, you are the reason, your fraud, which is, I'm going to sell you drugs, you're going to get this high. That had something to do with him endangering himself.
Right.
So I think that's the reason why they gave that
Her charge wasn't actually selling.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Okay. That makes sense.
I'm like, what else could you do that with? And then get in trouble. I was thinking about that. I was like, wait, let's make sure I haven't done anything illegal.
Yeah. Have you?
No. So.
Okay, good.
All right. So, and so it's really ironic, though, that, we find out as this goes on that the new job is actually women's panties they're making for whispers. And I thought it was actually really funny because as Flocka sees this, she's just like, great.
Just come full circle.
Comes full circle.
And her mom in the flashback was saying, this is important, you're learning a trade, whatever. And then the introduction before they go into the warehouse is like, you're learning a very important trade. It's like,
exactly what her mom said.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's right up her alley. I also feel a little, she's definitely got big ambitions, even though she's in prison. And it's funny how you look at some women and you see how prison takes a toll, but for her, she still has hope that she's not, this is not going to get the best of her. She's meant to do something great. Yeah. She still has that twinkle in her eye, but then you see people like Lorna Murillo, and she's, just sad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, she just doesn't have any makeup on. She's walking around looking crazy. So it's crazy that Flocka still has her sense of, I'm going to do well in life.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting. We were talking about this before we started. The testing scene when Flocka is kind of coming off the hinges there because of her nerves. She's working herself up so much for this test, which we find out later is just, he's like, I don't know, I just printed it offline, some personality quiz or something. And they're all freaking out, but Flocka just couldn't handle test taking.
Yeah.
So she's more of a creative type.
Exactly.
Yeah, she had a meltdown. But then when she found out she was on the list, it was sort of like it didn't surprise her. She was like, yes, see? Like, things are... She's young, right?
Yeah.
How old's this gal?
I don't know.
17? I don't know.
like
Would she be in junior? Like...
I guess she was a baby.
She got to be 18 to be there, right?
18, 19, something like that. So yeah, I'm glad her twinkle hasn't been lost in her eyes. So we'll see what happens with that. And of course, she's off kitchen staff. I think for good now, especially with her saying, I am better than you.
Yeah.
Than you nobodies.
Ooh.
That was rough.
She had good intentions of going to the kitchen.
Right.
To say, this is happening.
It's like the crabs in a barrel mentality when you try to do well, and then people who should support you are like clearly not trying to support you. They're more concerned with themselves.
And if they are a family, then they should support them. But obviously, there's some flaws in that system.
Right. Exactly. All right. Let's talk about... we were talking about what's going on with the prison. Of course, they have this new job there. It's a private prison, so private prisons have to make money. And this is what they're doing. Yeah. So the crazy thing is, when you see all of the officers complaining, they're like, our health care, like what's going to happen with our health care, they got mattresses now. Like, it seems to be good, but something's smoke and mirrors, which I truly believe. And you know what I said last episode? I did say, this is going to be bad. This private prison is not going to be good.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Because already with this new job, it's disrupting not only the economy of the prison, the relationships, how it's already set up. So I just don't know how that can just improve.
Oh, you're so right. There's so much more to come because this whole theme of, like, the corporate... entity is coming in and transforming this prison, and it's just going to be, decisions are starting to be made not for anyone's best will, but because of the bottom line, right?
And you see that with what you were talking about when it came to taking the test, how Danny just goes, yeah, we didn't even look at the test. We don't even know what the words are.
That shocked me.
And just for him to say, we had to do that so that these women aren't mad at us.
Right.
But they're mad at themselves for not doing well enough to get into this new job. And I was like, how evil is this?
Yeah. He said this, I wrote that down actually because I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. He said the system is to just make them think there is a system.
Right.
Yeah. Which actually was very intelligent.
It was very effective too.
But it's sad though, because you're like messing with these women's minds, and they're already locked up. You know what I mean? Like they don't have a lot to be excited about.
Can we talk about Danny though for a minute?
Yes.
I feel like so. Remember how what episode was that? I don't know. I was just like, he is sketchy. The episode where he calls and he's like walking down the street. So he has this. He tries to come off as someone who's just like not in control, but I think he's 100% in control of everything happening. Because first of all, he made the call about them taking over the prison, and then he said,
"Wouldn't that be interesting?"
He was like, all of the heads are like trying to find out in the schedule when we can all get together. He was like, "But I'll make a call on it soon." And Caputo was like, "You'll make a call on it?"
Right?
Like, why? I just feel like he just either doesn't care at all. about he definitely doesn't care about Caputo. Like, he tries to make him feel like what he's saying is important, and he's like, we're so glad that you're here down on the ground, like blah blah blah. Right. And he's just like, I don't care about
you know what? I think he might be the new warden. Because because
they fired the
warden, the old warden that we never got to see, which we always wanted to see. But I think he might be the new warden. But
there's something
Danny
there
definitely
about
plays
him.
stupid. He plays stupid, and he's not stupid. And I really think Caputo's gonna get his butt handed to him because Danny's using him. Danny's like, he's just kind of, what other ideas? That's a great idea. He's just kind of getting some of because of the experience that Caputo has being in this prison. I think he's gonna try to milk it as much as he can. Yeah. And when he can't use Caputo anymore, Caputo's out.
Right. I think there's something there for sure about Danny.
Right. It's really intriguing though, even to hear you guys talk about it. I think the writers are kind of messing with us. Like, they don't want us to know if Danny is like for real or clueless or really in charge. Like, that's a cool theory. Right. So it's definitely going to unfold.
Yeah. And then of course all the officers get their hours cut in half.
Right. And no benefits.
And I think that's what a lot of times that's what happens when you're trying to save money. You don't want to give workers benefits, so you make them part-time. Right. Ouch. To give them. That's so horrible.
That's happening all over this country.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
That's rough.
So sad. All right, let's talk about Poussey. Poussey over here. Okay, so
she took on the honey.
Yes. Is that what it's called, the honey?
Well, she said, I'm going to go have some honey. Oh. I don't know if that's what it's called, but that's what she calls it.
What do you guys that are on live right now, what is it? What's the mixture that she makes? What is that really? Because
what did it say on that article?
Well, it said toilet water. It said hooch. I don't know. It said homemade hooch. But, it's like...
just like a homemade alcohol.
Vegetables, isn't it?
I was saying decomposing. Hooch, but I remember in one episode, a couple seasons, or last season or the season before, they were saying something about it being like toilet water, toilet punch or something. I don't know. If you guys know, make sure you tweet us. Use the hashtag ABTVOITNB.
In the toilet.
What is it called?
It's called hooch, but you make it in the toilet.
Well, that's okay. I just thought there was a name for it. I guess that was another
because you need a bowl.
Well, she didn't make this in the toilet.
She didn't make this one in the toilet. But, so we'll just call it hooch, all right? We'll just call it hooch. And so she makes this, and we see that she's got hiding places for it outside, and everything is gone. Yeah. And this is a funny part to me because when she pulls out these bags and they're empty, and they were wrapped up. So clearly somebody had to go in there, unwrap it, get the stuff out, and wrap it back.
So it wasn't that squirrel.
Right. So that's the whole time. And she wasn't. Or the squawkoon. Yeah. The squawkoon, as Angie and Leanne like to say. Like, I really looked at it like, are you seriously believing these two, former meth heads that a squirrel did this?
I mean, it kind of made sense with it, like, all passed out up there in the tree.
I know. They kind of sold me on that, too. I was like, well, maybe it really was the squirrel because...
No, you know what? The only thing I kept coming back to was, how could it be? Because everything was wrapped back. Right. You would know. There would have been, like, a hole in the bag or something. Yeah. Like, the bag was sealed back. It was wrapped back in the towel. So
I didn't really notice that the first time
I didn't either. You're way more observant than we are.
So, of course... and I really love the fact that Leanne and Angie were talking about how, when my dad had, this issue, you just peed around it and put cayenne pepper.
Right. You gotta set a trap.
You gotta set a trap. And of course, that's exactly what we see Poussey doing. Right. I cracked up, and she seemed like she had a good time,
She was so proud of herself.
I would have done the same thing, like, here, let me go find the material to make this little funnel that I can pee in.
Right. Well, and on a more serious note, we know that she, has a drinking problem. She drinks all the time. Right. But she doesn't have anything else to do now that they don't have any books. And she works in the library.
Which is, I was going to ask that. I was like, what is she doing?
Yeah, well, she just, that's just her assignment. So she's like, I have a nap scheduled later. I was like, that is my kind of life. Where you can just,
But I'm saying, like, what is she doing in the library?
Making up her own stories.
I mean,
they're bummed out. Yeah. They're sad now.
But she's doing something, because remember she had the index cards and she was saying, like, the titles of them, and she was trying to come up with what she thought they were about.
Yeah, I think she's just going through all the books they used to have and, like, figuring out stories.
But I'm saying, like, what is that? That's supposed to be her job, but what is she doing with that?
I don't think they've reassigned her yet, is what has happened.
I feel like she should be like part of the new job, but I guess she,
I think it was just an oversight.
Right.
They're
She's like, whatever. I'll just stay here, and make my hooch, I'll give it to people for free. But we find out that Tasty took it. Tasty with her big heart. Because she said it gave, she knew that it would give Poussey something to do, and especially to take her.
Well,
she needed to stop drinking.
About it. Yeah,
she's drinking because she says it's 5 o'clock in prison all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was a great line. Wasn't it?
I guess it is. It needs to be. Probably.
Should be.
Right. So, do you think Tasty's what she did was actually helpful, or do you think it was a little more harmful?
Well, it kind of reminded me of the whole situation with Boo and Nikki with the drugs being missing, but in a different way. But even though Nikki just took them for herself.
Right.
But it just reminded me that for a second because Poussey said, we live with a bunch of thieves, blah, 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 and that's the same thing Nikki had said in that situation. But I think she had good intentions.
I thought so too. I thought she was trying to be a good friend.
Yeah, as someone who has an alcohol problem, like, you obviously want to help them.
But she kind of made it worse by blaming it on the squirrel, because now we're going down this whole other road of Poussey like being obsessed with the squirrel, right?
Yeah. Right.
So it kind of got like, instead of just like, okay, it's gone, it's over with, now we've got this new problem.
Right.
But it gives her more time to not be drinking.
Exactly.
So.
Get her weaned off of that. So I thought, all right, I thought you did a good job.
It's
as a
really
friend.
touching when, like, in all these situations when the ladies are looking out for each other, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, in those situations, it's not always the case.
Right.
Exactly. But the alliances are cool to see.
Exactly. That's what I like about it. So let's talk about some more alliances. Red and Healy.
Ooh. Yeah.
So Red, of course, asks Piper for some beauty advice, and which is I thought was so spot on.
I loved that moment.
Right.
Oh, lightening the lipstick? That was so on. I was like, yes, exactly.
Spiky hair,
and the eyebrows.
so harsh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which is true. And so she does an amazing transformation, by the way. I was like, oh, I see the softness so much so that even Healy sees that she looks different. She seems a little different.
Their chemistry is like bubbling on screen now at this point.
But it's getting to the point where like somebody's gonna be able to tell something, because of course Healy becomes, he sits down at the garden with Yoga Jones and Red and talks to them about his childhood, and the whole time Yoga Jones is kind of like,
what's happening? And we had this scene earlier when Gloria sees Red give Healy a look, and they're just not being sly about it by any means.
Right. So it's what I'm saying is I think that this is going to get messy. I think it's going to get messy because I don't like. Yeah. He seems to be loosening up too much. You see Red do his button in the hallway.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, we see at the end of the episode when she gives him this whole spiel about how she needs to. She's missing that passion. Like she wants to. I thought for sure they were about to.
Right,
get it on.
Go somewhere.
I was like, oh my God, this is moving very fast.
And you see his eyes. He was just excited.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But then when he calls her out, he's like, oh, are you talking about the kitchen? And she's like, yeah, I am. And he said, I thought you were different. And then that's the end of that.
Oh.
Right. So what do you think because this whole episode, I thought that, she was really into him.
Right.
So do you think that was all just to try to butter him up for the kitchen stuff? Or do you think that was
I think so.
legit feelings?
I think so. I think she wasn't trying to necessarily, because here's the thing about Red, like Red,
she's not going to butter anybody up.
Right. Yeah. Red's Red, and on top of that, when you're in prison, there's not much you can do. Like your job kind of defines you. That's what you spend most of your time doing on a day-to-day basis. People not even in prison, like you look at your job as this kind of defines who I am. So when you take away something that gave her a little bit of power in this place, and now she's like, I have gardening. Like, what does that do?
Well, I think it's very much so like Red to notice his weakness, because like in previous episode he was bringing her the rose seeds and like all this stuff. She was like, he definitely likes me.
I'm not totally sure yet, because I genuinely thought she had feelings for him too. And then when she pulled the kitchen thing in that scene, and he was so hurt, and it sort of made it appear like, no guys, she's been playing him all along. Of course, manipulative, Red. But I don't know. Part of me's still not sure. I still think maybe she has some feelings for him, honestly.
Here's the thing that I wasn't clear about. Because her and Dimitri are still not, like, over. Like, they're not divorced, And she was just mad because he didn't tell her about the bakery. Closing the bakery. So, to me, I don't know is that final? Is their relationship completely final just because he didn't say that to her?
Right. I don't know. She seems to think that it is. Because when Piper was like, I thought you were done with Dimitri, and she was like, it's not about Dimitri, blah, blah. So
and that's what I'm saying. It's not really
she's
clear
still mad about it.
that they're over.
Right.
You know what I mean? To me, it just sounds like she's mad for the time
Well,
being.
his relationship isn't really over
Right,
entirely
right.
either. So it's that possibility of having two things going at once.
Right.
Or one thing distract you from the other, right?
And, I mean, you get lonely in prison.
Right.
So I don't think she should
Apparently.
completely, eliminate him as an option.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's what she's got going.
You guys, do you wonder in a real prison how often that guards actually find themselves attracted to or build a little more than a friendship with a inmate? I really
Often.
wonder.
Yeah.
No, because it just happened in New York with the two guys that escaped.
Good point.
One of them was messing with the female guard. She got them all the stuff, and they escaped out. So I think it happens in real life a lot more than we would like to think. There's people that have ended up pregnant, like a female guard ends up pregnant by a male inmate. I honestly feel like it should just be, if it's a male environment, there should only be males working there. If it's a female environment, only females. Not that stuff still
Not
couldn't
that
happen
wouldn't
there.
stop
But I'm
it,
saying
but
it's probably going to be a less amount of stuff happening.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And probably, harder to manipulate the guards, harder to get the guards to bring in or out something for you if they're the same sex. I feel like it's a
That's what
little
I'm
bit
saying.
easier to get a guy to do something, don't you?
Right, absolutely. I mean, Caputo said it before. It's like, sometimes you see these women and stuff happens in your head and you're like, yeah. But I don't think that happens as often if it's just a female. And you know what I mean? Probably not as often. So
Who knows?
who knows? Right. That would be interesting.
Real life is interesting. Yeah.
Let us know what you think. Make sure you go to iTunes and subscribe to our podcast. Give us 5 stars. Tell your friends and your friends' friends. Listen to it on your way to work, whatever. 5 stars. And make sure you also go to SoundCloud. You can catch us there. And on YouTube, click the subscribe button. It's just below. You'll get all of our AfterBuzz shows. They're amazing. All right, let's talk about, we finally found out what happened to Bennett. He's gone.
Okay. Is he definitely?
I'm not sure either.
But where did he go? Because Caesar went to his house. There's nothing there.
Caesar's crazy.
Did you think
so
Caesar
funny.
was lying about it?
Bennett has to come back. There's
I feel that he will too.
I'm saying, where do you think he went? Like, what's the point of him leaving?
I don't know.
He totally freaked out, clearly. I mean, I think Caesar freaked him out. I think I think that he's like, whoa, what am I getting myself into?
Right.
Maybe he's moving into a better and bigger apartment or house or something, getting it all ready for the baby.
I don't think so, girl.
That'd be nice. But I feel
That's some wishful thinking.
But if you move into a bigger and better house, you need more money, which means he should be at work.
Right.
Because they're working hourly.
Well, maybe he got a new job.
I feel that he will come back, though, too. Should we make that a pre-prediction?
Yeah, he's definitely got to come back. There's no way that's like the end of that story.
Because that would have been really.
Although in real life, when men bail if they bail.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. I don't think he will.
I thought it was so funny when Caesar was like, telling Daya how a man, a real man, doesn't leave or whatever. He was like, maybe you get a little side action, but you don't leave.
Yeah,
And I was like, oh my god, this is the worst advice.
No, but here's the thing about Caesar.
Even your deadbeat
morality
dad stayed until you were 2. I was like, okay, that's still not.
I know too.
It's better than nothing.
So funny.
You know what I'm saying? And that's why I love Caesar's character, because you want to hate him because he is like this kind of depraved man, crazy. But he's also really, he says some real stuff. He said, a real man knows how to stick it out and just suck it up and stick it out.
Yeah.
He's like, you're pregnant, you're going through some crazy hormonal stuff. He's supposed to stick it out with you.
Right.
Yeah. And he's right. I'm like, Caesar's speaking some truth here.
I'm so conflicted with Caesar because I love him, and then I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe he just said that.
Right. And then he's like, if you need me to kill him, and as soon as I see him,
I'm gonna stick a bottle up his I don't know what.
Right.
It was like, whoa.
And then she was like, thank you, very sarcastically, and he was like, you're welcome.
No, I'm going to.
I will do that for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And someone had commented in one of our last episodes, they said something like, am I the only one that remembers that Caesar had slept with Daya as well? And I was like, yeah, that's so true. I keep forgetting that because I think I give him a little too much credit.
Of course he did.
Yeah.
Well, it's just a weird, messed up family. You can't really judge anyone's family. It's crazy, no matter how crazy it is.
Those poor French fries he made that boy eat. I'm still thinking about the soggy fries. I don't know why that bothered me so much.
I know. Oh, poor boy. Okay, so then of course, Daya reaches out to Mendez's mom, Porn Stash's mom.
Oh yeah.
And she's basically like, you can have the baby. Give me a piece of paper. I'll sign it over now. Like, no emotions. I don't want this thing in me, whatever. She's just saying it like that.
Yeah.
When I saw that, okay, so it seems like she's a really nice mom because she was like, are you sure you want to think about that?
She's like, I could be an ex-murderer.
Right, which is true. You look at Porn Stash. Like, something's got to be not right.
She's like, not that I am. I watch a lot of crime investigation shows.
Something's not right with her. I want to say, she seems really, really nice, but I just feel like there's got to be some drama with that situation. So you want to like her because she seems like she's sweet, and she's like, I know you're wanting to give your baby away, Daya, but she might think about it. You know, is there someone you can talk to about this?
She seems kind of trustworthy right now because she's kind of like, she's not just playing all nice and perfect. She's like, look, I know this is a mess, and let me just tell you my true intention. Poor Daya, she just gave up.
Right. Well, when she realizes that Daya doesn't have anyone to talk to or, you know, any sort of family, even from her mom in prison, she's like, all right, I'm going to come back and we'll talk soon. So that's a good sign for me, but I just don't know if she does get the baby, like, how does that affect her finding out that it's actually not her son's?
Well, I don't think it's going to matter. Once you adopt the baby, it's yours.
Right.
So I think what's going to, like, this is just my prediction. When I was watching this, I'm looking at it and I'm going, what's going to happen is she's going to take the baby. She's going to sign over her rights. She's going to let Porn Stash's mom raise the baby. Then Bennett's going to come back. She's going to be like, oh, I made a mistake. I want to get the baby back. They're going to try to reach out to her, and she's going to say, no, this is my baby.
I think... Can I do a prediction? I think Daya is going to almost do the adoption, and then at the last minute she's going, nope, it's my baby. I'm going to raise this damn baby.
I have a feeling Daya's going to keep
But here's the question, then where does the baby go? That's the problem, because she can't go with Caesar.
He's
can't
just
go with
moving into
grandma.
a nicer apartment.
No, that's
going to come.
That would be, see, we want the pretty story to happen,
That's what I'm saying, because I was thinking about that, like, I would love for that to happen, but realistically, Caesar can't raise the baby. Her grandmother can't raise the baby. Like, there's nobody there that can raise the baby. So it's kind of like she is stuck with giving this baby to Porn Stash's mom.
Right.
You know, and I really feel like she's gonna, even when they tell Porn Stash's mom the truth, like, yo, this is not his kid, she's gonna be like, no, but you signed the baby over. It's mine, period.
Yeah. That's true. I could see that, but that's the not pretty version.
I know.
And I prefer to see the pretty.
I know. So then
we want prison to be pretty.
I know, right? We want everyone's life to be nice and flowery. So let's talk about Norma. Norma, she's definitely still into her voodoo, her quiet voodoo.
Right. Yeah.
Yes, her quiet voodoo. And so Gloria is like, no, give me my stuff back. You're messing with Santeria, which is like, it's her culture. This is what they do. And so it's almost disrespectful that you think you can do this. This is not your culture.
And she calls her Magic Norma.
Right.
Yeah. But then we see later when Norma's talking with Soso, she doesn't have any the honey or the candle or any of that stuff. She just honestly just sits there and listens.
Gives really good looks.
And gives her good understanding looks of
that's her
sympathy.
Thing. That's what Soso says. This is your thing.
And then she hugs her. So she didn't even need all that stuff in the first place.
Yep. And the actress really is like a great listener. I really feel like she communicates silently.
Right. Yeah. I hope that, you know what I was thinking about this? You know how, like, when you're on a show, for those of you that are not in Hollywood, when you see TV shows and people aren't speaking, they don't get the same rate as people who do speak. Right. But she's in like every episode. So I'm wondering what her pay rate is because she doesn't speak. But she has like a major role. She's got a role, a serious role.
I wonder if we're going to get an episode that goes into her background. I'm wanting one of those.
No, I've been saying that because I'm like, how does a lady who doesn't speak get into prison? I mean, we know she can, but what happened to where she no longer wants to speak?
Yeah, I don't know.
You know?
Maybe it's just when she goes into prison is when she stops speaking.
Probably.
Sorry, I also wonder, can she actually not speak?
No, you remember she's sang the Christmas song. The Christmas episode.
Oh, right.
Okay. Remember she sang because, who couldn't sing? Who was it that couldn't sing? Y'all remember. But anyway, so she finished the song out. Oh, Suzanne. Was it Suzanne that couldn't sing? Somebody clammed up.
Remember. Yeah.
Crazy Eyes.
Suzanne couldn't sing, and she finished the song. She had this beautiful voice, and everybody was like,
"What? Where'd that come from?"
Right. So she can't. So I don't know. I really want to see her background and see how she got into this
I'm with
place.
you.
I would love for that to be episode.
Right.
I really do love these episodes with the backgrounds. I know you girls have mentioned that before, and I'm like, I'm with you. It's really neat. It adds such dimension.
Right. And so, we see So she's talking about, she realizes that she doesn't have any friends, and she just wonders, like, why don't I have anyone who cares about me? And, at the end of the day, even though people are in prison, they're still people. You know, we all want someone to care about us. We want someone to be our friend. And even the fact that she's trying to, like, make friends with Leanne and Angie, I'm like, man, times are tough.
Desperate. I love she was like, so, Walmart? Am I right?
Totally.
That was so funny. Looking like, we're not that stupid.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, like, it's funny, the town I grew up in North Carolina, like, we take so much pride in our super Walmart.
Right!
So it's so funny to me, like, our super Walmart and our Bojangles. It's like, all right, we got the two best things that the South can offer. And so it's funny that she's like, so how about it? So
like,
cheap, right?
Like, oh gosh, this is not
I appreciated that little shout out.
Okay, so then we see that Alex has been a little paranoid about stuff going on. She mentions to Piper that she sees this girl twice in one day, and she hasn't seen her ever.
Right.
And she thinks that Kubra has sent somebody to come kill her.
You know, she has like post-traumatic stress from getting back in prison.
Right.
Yeah. Right? She has these waves of like, oh no, he's after me, and this is,
Yeah, so much so that she even accuses Piper. She's like, wait, did you speak to Kubra? Could it be you?
I feel like in the past couple of episodes especially, we're learning a whole new side of Piper.
Right.
Like this, because when we first meet Piper back in season 1, it's like her going to jail. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So we don't get to see that like playful, sarcastic side as much. But we like kind of knew it was there. But now all she ever does is just like joke around.
I mean, yeah, she's kind of like, look, I got to make the best of this. I'm going to be here for a while.
Right.
So let me just joke around.
But it's like I'm getting to know a completely new character, even though we've seen her, all this time, and she's been our main character.
Right, which is actually good because, I know you hate her.
Well, I don't hate her.
You hate the storyline with her and Alex, and so now we see there's going to be something, it seems like there's going to be differences with her being, now Alex is the one who's kind of scaredy cat and serious. And
I feel like from season 1, tell me your feelings about Piper's character, that I feel like my perception of her in the beginning was that she was way more kind of like clean cut and, and didn't belong in prison.
Yeah, and very waspy,
very waspy. Yeah. And now I'm getting more comfortable with her, like, being layers of sarcasm and, like, layers of her own kind of rebellion.
Right?
It's like she, to me sometimes, though, it seems like she enjoys prison. Just even, like, the conversation with her parents and stuff. She's like, I'm learning a lot of new things, like, I can fix, like, and I'm like, well, I get, like, you want to make the best of what's happening and you can't really change it anyway, but it's like almost too much.
Really?
To me.
I like it. I like this new Piper, and I like the fact that, and that I think was a turning point for me, that episode when she said to her parents, like, maybe this is where I'm supposed to be because I'm becoming a better person.
I mean, and that takes a lot to say that.
Right.
You know what I mean? I can't even imagine
that was
being in prison and being like, you know what? Maybe this is where the universe wants me.
Right. So I can get my life right.
It was a pretty cool statement. Yeah.
I'll give her props for that.
Yeah, that was a good statement.
She's growing on me. Megan.
Okay, good.
It wasn't Piper that I dislike. It was just the constant, like, cycle of the Alex and Piper show. Going over and over the same things. But, it's not, that hasn't happened again yet, so we'll see.
Maybe it's like, we get it. Yeah. They're lesbians. Kind of like that? A little bit of that?
Yeah, no, it's just like breakup, makeup, rough hookups.
So we'll see, because it kind of seems like the tables are turning. So in the next few episodes we should probably see something different, I'm assuming. But I will say this, of course this ends, we see that the prison is now going to be making panties. I think it's actually kind of ironic that they're panties that they're making, because they could be making anything in the world.
I said panties for a second.
I know, I love the way you say panties. Panties. You make them sound so naughty.
Panties. Yeah, because here you have a population of women who clearly need underwear.
Right.
And they're wearing these granny panties, and they're making these, like, sexy lingerie panties.
Oh, and I love how they're all into the catalogs.
Yeah,
and they're
like them up and
tearing them apart, and like, these cost $100, and then did I get some more?
No, but it's just funny to me how we're gonna see what happens with this, but I'm telling you, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be so bad with these ladies. I don't know. I just don't see anything good coming out of this. They have to make panties. They've got to, and everybody's excited because obviously they're going to make more money. But I don't know, ladies.
Well, I get that since it's a private, it's owned privately now. They need to find some way to like create some income.
Right.
But I don't know. but making panties seems very like.
That's what I'm saying. It's just ironic. You got a population of women who can't even wear these panties,
Right.
Because
Exactly.
clearly they're not going to be buying them. They just have to make
and they're
them.
not allowed to have stuff like that in
you
prison.
gotta have
so I
your-
feel like they're
your
definitely going to have a problem with like them selling them inside the prison or something.
Oh, that would be good, actually. Yeah.
Oh, they would so want to sell them after
Someone's
wearing,
hustle.
what they wear, and then you
they
are
have to
dealing
wear,
with
like,
these pretty
diapers right
things.
now.
Yeah.
Right. All right, ladies, do we have any news and gossip?
Well, I thought we should mention that this week was a big deal for the gay and lesbian community because on Friday the Supreme Court said, go for the gay marriage. And several of the castmates.
Every state has to recognize it now.
Every state. It's the law of the land.
Yes.
And I know everyone, the whole country, we all have been reacting and celebrating. And several of the castmates are lesbian.
Yes.
And have commented on how extremely exciting the decision was. So that was fun.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
On Friday, I just was walking around in West Hollywood, and everyone was just so happy. And they like today is the best day ever. I just loved it. It was awesome.
I should have went over there.
Yeah.
Wasn't over there. All right, so we are going to recap another episode next time. But if you have any other questions or comments, make sure you use the hashtag ABTVOITNB throughout the week because we see all of your comments and we love your comments and we'll respond to you or we'll retweet all of those things. Ladies, where can we find you?
Hey, I'm at J2 Snyder all over the internet.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Sterling Cates and also on the Astronaut Wives After Show and there's one other. Oh yeah, Mistresses.
Awesome.
What is it?
And you can find me, Megan Thomas, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Meg Scoop, like Scoop of Ice Cream. And also check me out on our sister station, Black Hollywood Live. I host the show Next, where we always interview next up-and-coming people. So make sure you check that out on Black Hollywood Live. Until next week, you guys. Bye. Whoop, whoop.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.